Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Shivers. Now in this episode, I will share with you guys some of my experiences when I go for fishing. Now fishing is one of my favorite sport. I normally go for coastline, but I haven't gone to the extent of offshore fishing yet because offshore fishing requires certain equipments, and most of the time I will go fishing either on my own or I will go out with my buddies or previously my girlfriends and so on and so forth. Now for the first story, alright, that is the first story is not actually from my experience. The first story is in a location which I like so much, but it is from another fisherman friend of mine. Now, this location itself is located in Changi, and it's nearby to the Changi Sailing Club, and it's of course within the areas of the Changi Government Chalet. There used to be a jetty there, but I believe for now the jetty has been demolished. Everything has been sealed up with fencing, and it's no more fun there. Down there, actually, there's a lot of stuff. I've caught like stingrays. I've caught crabs, those big claw crabs. Then I've caught groupers. I've caught GT, not the GT driving, the GT fish. Anyway, so this was one of the experiences that was faced by one of the fishermen there when they are fishing at night. Now, as I mentioned earlier, there used to be a jetty. That jetty is just a small little jetty, squarish kind of formation, and most of the time we just go to the jetty, on the jetty, and we will cast our line into the sea. Now, on that night, this fisherman was on his own. Right, he went out. He started fishing. He set up his fishing rod, his fishing reels, and everything, and started casting out into the sea. He did, along the way, managed to catch maybe one or two fishes. It was sort of like a medium-sized fish kind of thing. So, and when he caught those fishes, he would just put it inside his, those styrofoam containers that is for storing fresh fish that we just caught from the sea. So he just stored it inside. So as he was fishing, right, he just cast out his line. He was like taking in the sea breeze and stuff. Suddenly, one apparition came from his side. Now, it is in the form of a lady. Right? It's a lady with a long hair. She will just come over onto the jetty, come beside him, bow down, or was it squat down? And guess what she did? She opened the styrofoam box, took out one of the fish, and just ate it on the spot, just beside him. Now, this particular fisherman knew there was something wrong somewhere when that woman actually just came quietly beside him and started squatting down and opening up his styrofoam box and started acting weird. Most of the time when you go fishing, people will talk to you, come beside you, they will look at you and they will start talking to you, that kind of thing. I mean, if you are a seasoned fisherman, you will know that sometimes we talk amongst each other. But this fisherman knows there's something weird about this woman, so he just kept quiet and pretend nothing happened. So this woman just squat down, munch up all the fish, eat up all the fish that he had caught. I think that was about 2 pieces, medium size. And after she finished eating, she got up, she just walked off. And here's the so-called, I don't know whether to say it's a taboo, or whether to say it's luck, or whether to say it's suspicion, or whatever you call it. Now, after she has finished eating all those fish, she went off. This fisherman's line went totally crazy, right? Totally crazy. Fish starts coming in, then he casts out again, he get again some more fish, then he casts out again, and he gets some more fish, and it's like non-stop. Now, a lot of fishermen will say this, right? If this kind of thing happens, it is some form of a trap, right? It's some form of a trap. So what we normally do, or what is the common practice, is that we get whatever we want that is sufficient, pack up and leave. Don't turn back. So that's what this fisherman did, because he sensed something was wrong. First, initially was the woman. Then suddenly, after the woman finished eating, just suddenly, his line got so hot that each time he casts out, he gets a fish. He casts out, he gets a fish. So he already knew that something was wrong. So he got a few fishes for himself and maybe some extras. He quickly packed up and called it a night. And that was what the fisherman actually experienced that night. And true enough, that place actually is pretty haunted. But I would say for now, because the jetty is no more there, there are still traces of it. Some would say she hangs around the coconut tree. Some would say she hangs around at the big tree, which is behind the coconut tree. And if I were to say it's the big tree that's overlooking the sea, last I saw it has already been chopped down. So it's like only the tree stump. But one thing's for sure, that location was my childhood favorite. Why? Because there's a lot of stuff that you can get from there. Stingray, like I mentioned, stingray, GT, grouper. Even if you fish by the side, by the seaside, you can get fish the size of my palm. Even by the seashore, right? The only thing is that, or the only headache is that there's a lot of stones. If you throw wrongly, if you cast your line wrongly, your hook gets caught up into the stones or the corals, and that's it. You pull it, the line breaks, you got to replace with a new set of hooks. Throw it wrongly, you cast it wrongly, the line breaks, you have to keep on replacing. So that is one of the setbacks of that location. But overall, it does bring a lot of goodness. So if you guys manage to go there, but for now, if I'm not wrong, the only way to reach that location is by the shoreline, coming in from Changi Sailing Club. Because for the government chalet itself, there's no entry for public, right? And to reach the shoreline itself, they have already put up metal fencing, so there's no way for you to reach the shoreline unless you are going on foot onto the sand. Only then you can reach to the front. But one thing's for sure, if it's high tide, it is high tide, so it's very dangerous to stick around during high tide, since they already have a fencing put up at the edges of the chalet itself. Now, going on to the next one. The next one actually is in the same area, but two different locations. It is at East Coast. Okay, so the first experience happens at Bedok Jetty. Now, for you guys who have not been to Bedok Jetty before, and for the benefit of our foreign friends, Bedok Jetty is a super long jetty that stretches out to almost to the center of the seabed. Now, if you have reached to the end of the jetty itself, you don't have to cast out your line so far. You can actually just drop your line below, and it's already considered very deep. Right, at night usually you can find squids moving around, but of course you need to catch squids, you need the help of torchlights, so that the squids will actually move towards the torchlight. Oh, what's that? And of course nets. It's pretty deep at the end of the jetty itself, so just be prepared. Try not to actually jump or actually fall into the sea, because it's going to be very very rough. Right, so now this thing happened actually not at the jetty itself. Now on that day, actually we were already, me and my friend actually was already at the jetty from early in the morning, because we wanted to catch some bait. Alright, they call it tamban. It's more or less like, you know, small little anchovies, right, that we can use actually for bait at night when we are fishing. So we caught a lot in the morning, then we stopped for a break for a while, because the afternoon sun was pretty hot, and this jetty itself, there's no shelter. Then after that, after dinner, we started our fishing, night fishing. So we went over to the end of the jetty to started fishing using the bait that we caught earlier on in the morning. Halfway through the fishing fun, right, it was about like 12 to 1 a.m. in the morning, right, the rain started to fall, so we had to pack up everything, quickly pick up everything. There's no opportunity for us to actually keep it properly. We just take everything and quickly go to the nearest shelter that is just behind the Bedok jetty. Now luckily for us, both of the shelters actually is empty. Now if you guys have not been to Bedok jetty yet, now Bedok jetty, at the starting of it, there's two shelters, one on the left, one on the right. We were on the left hand side. If you are facing the jetty, we are on the left side shelter, because that one is open and is slightly brighter, and we took shelter there for when it rained. So when each of us are actually busy packing up all of our equipments to actually stay for the night, right, while I was packing, my friend was also packing his stuff. So we were chit-chatting about whatever happened in the morning, in the afternoon, or what we are going to do maybe tomorrow, because we had already went for about almost a week fishing without going back home. So after some discussion, we packed everything. I was actually facing the bushes that is behind the shelter, right, the shrubs, whatever bushes that is behind the shelter. Now behind the shelter itself, there's two trees. One has a Y joint, the other one has, I think, just a stump coming out, the trunk all the way outwards. So I noticed something when I was looking at the tree that has a split joint. Right? Initially, it doesn't come across to my mind about that thing. So initially, I thought it was just a white plastic bag. Initially, I thought it was just a white plastic bag being blown by the wind, and it will just, like, you know, move forward in the open, and it will go to the next location onwards and stuff. So I took no notice of it. Then as we continue packing and packing and packing, we start to set up our beds for the night. Then I noticed something. That same white thing that I saw eventually didn't appear on the other side of the tree. Instead, it went up. And that white thing, on top of it, there's a black color kind of I don't know, it's sort of like a hair or something like that. So I actually zoomed in, kind of like, you know, try to like take a closer look. Then I realized it was her big sister with the letter P. So I totally told my buddy, say, hey, come, let's go to sleep. Call it a day. Come, sleep, quickly sleep. I was like, oh shit, she's just behind. So he quickly went into his, I think his hammock that he brought, but we didn't actually tie up on the, you know, the ends of the shelter. Instead, we just use it to actually blanket ourselves, and I end up blanketing myself inside the hammock also, but as a puchi. Right now, if you guys are wondering what's a puchi, some of the Malays will call it sweet, gula-gula. I would call it a puchi because it starts with P-O, right? It's that small little, I mean, it's not small, but it's that thing that is in shroud. Alright, so I call it puchi. So basically, I wrap myself in such a way for the night to sleep. And we just slept for the night and prayed hard that it didn't disturb. And luckily, it didn't disturb us. It just went off just like that. So that was the closest, guys. For that area, don't play around within that bush area. It's pretty dangerous. Luckily for me, I could sense it, but somehow at this point, I mean, when I went for fishing, somehow it manifests itself. So I was able to see it in true form. But it wasn't dirty, somehow. I think she went to the laundries and just was on the way back home, I guess. That's why the outlook was very clean. So that's it for one story from East Coast. Now on to the next story. This is one location which I would advise, highly advise, guys, don't go to this location on your own, or don't try to be funny or try to ghost hunt or whatever. This place is no joke, right? I've consulted my friend who is also sort of into this ghost hunting thing. He went for training in one of the, you know, that so-called jungle kind of thing, that bushes kind of thing, to actually come face to face with the supernatural. So don't for this location. Now this location itself is longkang 6. That means 6 drains. Most of the Malay fishermen will know it, right? It is actually a canal that has 6 so-called 6 canals are actually into one. So most of the time, what type of fishes you find there? Of course, our catfishes. They are huge. That location has huge catfishes, and sometimes you will find that it's the other one. You know, catfishes, they have, I think, about 3 species. One is the black, one is the green, then the other one is like a slightly pale in color. Now the black is okay, but you still need to clean it. The green, you need to super clean it because it eats rubbish. Then the pale one, I think, is the one that's usually make for curry or whatever not. Now, okay, set aside those things. So one fine day, I decided to go fishing together with my girlfriend, my ex-girlfriend now. And we decided to pitch a tent there, and at the same time get a that kind of mini barbecue pit, you know, portable barbecue pit, which you can actually set up in front of your tent. You don't have to actually dig a hole or what. They will just, you know, open up, form up a tray with a charcoal inside, then the net on top. So we bought that, and we went over to Longkang 6 because down there is super quiet, super peaceful. Nobody goes there so much or at all, right? And across that Longkang 6 is total darkness. It's pitch dark. You can't even see the tree trunk of the plants there or the trees there. So it's pitch dark. And what we did was we pitched tent along the longkang 6. Right, we didn't go into, or we didn't go across to the pitch dark side. We stayed alongside there is a sailing club there. Right, there is a sailing club there, so we pitched along the fences of the sailing club. Now, here is what went wrong. Now everybody knows recreation center, especially those like, you know, sea sports kind of thing, will finish by day end. That means about 5 p.m, 6 p.m, they will call it a day and they will shut down. That is what happened to the sailing club. Right, it's closed. Right, closed for the day, closed for the night. Nobody is inside the sailing club. Right, so we set up our tent. There was, I think, about a family which is further down, but they are just laughing out loud, because I think they are having some games or whatsoever, so they are actually enjoying themselves. So when we pitched our tent, we quickly get pitched up. Then after that, my girlfriend was inside. Then she was actually setting up the barbecue thingy, while I was actually setting up the fishing rods. So while I was actually setting up fishing rods and she doing the barbecue thing, suddenly there are voices of kids laughing behind our tent. Kids laughing behind our tent. Right. Now, bear in mind, behind our tent is actually the fence for the sailing club, and that sailing club itself is already closed for the day. Who is laughing in the background? That's the question. So what we did was actually to, even though these things are made from fire, that was one thing that we did wrong. So we just set up the barbecue pit. We start, you know, doing the barbecue and stuff. It's like play hard. Oh shit, don't disturb us, kind of thing. So eventually the kids disappeared, and we did hear on the other side. You remember the one I mentioned, that there is a family who is laughing aloud and enjoying themselves. End up they actually also had some encounters as well. I think something disturbed them, and I think somebody got into a trance or got possessed or something like that. So they quickly packed up and they left. It was totally quiet, only both of us there. Right. So what we did was, what happened after that, my fishing rod was outside, me and my girlfriend inside. We quickly cooked all the hot dogs or fish cake or fish ball, whatever, put it on the plate, one whole big mountain of it, close up the tent, eat inside the tent, and call it a night. I didn't even touch my fishing rod for the whole night. I just cast it out and leave it. That's it for the night. Who is going to go and entertain those kids outside? And worse still, they are just behind the tent. So that was, luckily they didn't manifest themselves. So it's like lucky for me and lucky for us. So again, guys, don't try to go to Longkang 6. Right? It's not. I can share with you guys the location itself. Right? It's far and near to the golf course. Right? You see the canal has 6 longkang. That is the Longkang 6. Right? At night is total darkness. So try not to play around there. It is very dangerous. Right? So that's it. We just went in, finish up all the food. The next morning, the sunrise, we pack up and we left. Okay, so the last story that I'm going to share with you guys is one of the very, very strong locations that has always been mentioned to a lot of people, or a lot of people itself, or for those who have already gone there, have experienced themselves the encounters with this supernatural. So basically, again, my advice, like I mentioned for the East Coast one, this one, please be careful if you're going there at night. Make sure that you're in a group. Do not go alone. Do not go in couple. Couple is no point. Once everything, or once something happen, one will go that side, one will go that side. So problem, always go in a group. Alright, don't go there alone or two people. You need to have at least a big group so that it will keep you guys together. The more the merrier, the lesser not good. Okay. So the location in mention is Kampung Wak Hassan. Right now, Kampung Wak Hassan is not Sembawang Park. Now, some of us may have like misunderstood Sembawang Park as Kampung Wak Hassan. Now, Kampung Wak Hassan is actually on the other side of Sembawang Park, in which if you look at the coastline of Sembawang Park, right, to the right, you will see an opening for a mangrove or a river. Right after that river is Kampung Wak Hassan location. Now, for the history of it, mostly you can find weird things there, because people who help cast out things or cast out spells or voodoo, or all those bad stuff, everything will be thrown there. There are certain locations in Singapore which are used for that, and Kampung Wak Hassan is one of them. Right, happen to be because it's nearby to the sea. It's an open space, nobody goes there, and all the stuff are there. So this is experienced by my fishing buddy. Alright, he's so damn good, so good that he did this crazy thing. Right, so he liked fishing so much, he initially asked me out to go fishing at Kampung Wak Hassan. Now, when I heard that name, I told him, no, it's not a good idea for night. I don't mind if I were to go fishing in the morning, because at that time I was having a bike, so I can just get the bait and then quickly rush over to Kampung Wak Hassan location and go and start to fish. Now, if you guys are wondering, Kampung Wak Hassan, if you guys fish, you can actually catch the fish by hand. That's the shock part of it. So you don't have to have bait, but the water is clear. You can see the sand or the seabed. It's about, I think, half calf height or above ankle level. Then you will start to see all the fishes all running around. So for that location, actually I went in the morning, and this good friend of mine, so clever, he wanted to be so adventurous, he did it at night. I told him, I'm sorry, I cannot be with you guys, because at night it's not a good place to be in, that location. But he still remained hard-headed, stubborn, still want to do it. Okay, why not? So he pitched up his tent, he set up his fishing rod and whatever not. Then he got tired. I think there wasn't any like fish bite or whatever. He got tired of like going in and out, so he just pitched his tent there. He went into his pitched his tent. He cast his line out, put it there, went back into his tent and just rest. Then at one point in time, he suddenly felt like he wanted to have a short nap, so he covered up his tent. That's when the weird thing happens. So while he was actually lying down in his tent, he heard some footsteps going around his tent. So he heard the footsteps. So he ignored. He just listened up and just hopefully nobody disturb whatsoever, and just ignore it. Then the footstep came nearer and nearer and nearer to his tent. It became louder and louder and louder until in the end his tent was shook so hard that he was like very shocked, because his tent was like shaking, like I don't know, a very strong wind was blowing, can say that, or maybe somebody is shaking outside but he can't see any shadow or anything. The tent that he was in was shaking so hard that he was like, oh shit, what's going on? So he just stayed in the tent, his tent, and started praying all the way throughout the night until dawn. His tent kept shaking and shaking and shaking. So he was like, oh shit. He tried to message me, but I guess I already was sleeping. So tomorrow morning when I woke up, I saw his message. I said, hey, what's up? Then it was like totally I can hear his fear in his voice. So it was like, shit, luckily yesterday you didn't come. My tent was shook until I don't know what shook my tent. It was shaking so hard. I wanted to sleep. I cannot sleep. I just sit down and pray. Then nothing happened. So luckily he came out of there safely. So guys, one thing's for sure, if you guys want to go for adventure at that location, please bring a group. If you don't go alone, always go in groups. Alright, this kind of thing, anything that's related to supernatural, do not go in twos. Always go in more than 3s or 4s. Okay guys, so that marks the end of episode 2. I hope you guys find it, I know my storytelling is pretty bad actually, so well, I'm just sharing with you guys whatever that I know, so that you guys can, if you guys want to explore, it's up to you guys. Anyway, in the community tabs for my channel, I've set up a poll. Right now, episode 2 marks the center or the meat of my Shivers segment. Right, another 2 more segments or another 2 more episodes, we'll call it a cut. So I set up a poll to find out if you guys want me to continue and you guys want to contribute as well your story to share with the community, or you want me to call it off, end it at the 4th episode, and that's it. Right, provide your poll, provide your voting in the community tab. Guys, I need your input. So basically, I hope you guys find this episode entertaining or informational. If you like it, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to click on the subscribe button as well as the bell icon to stay informed of the latest videos that I post online. So basically, I see you guys on the next episode or my next vlog. Alright, stay safe, ride safe, bye bye.